Hello, Termites. It's night 50. We made it 50 nights. And we're halfway through the book, so you figure it's probably going to take a hundo to get done with Tanya. Although there's pages with pictures. And tonight, what are we drinking? This is 3 Olives Elvis Presley coconut water vodka. Word is he liked coconut. I don't know why. Maybe because they dressed him up in Hawaiian lace for a lot of his shows. Maybe he felt like he was an island person who was into coconut water. It's one of my mom's favorite performers. My parents went to see Elvis in 1977. When they got home, now remember, or it was 1976, or close to the end, here were their reviews. And I was like 10. And I said, oh my God, how was Elvis Presley? And my mom goes, he was wonderful. He sang everything and he threw scarves out. And I just loved every minute of it. And my dad goes, I completely disagree. He's an overweight drug addict who doesn't even know the words to his own songs. I knew more words to his songs than he knew. And I don't think we should have had to pay $100 to go in and watch a guy who can't remember his own songs. So they were 2 very different reviews of what occurred that night. I would prefer to think my mom's version seems a little happier. And see, here's Elvis with his lays on. Maybe that's why he liked coconut water so much. It's not really my thing, but this was a gift. And so I thought, since I'm going through the liquor closet, somebody noticed there's no rum. Well, there's a good goddamn reason. It's just because I don't like it, that's all. I really don't know anybody who asked for rum, so if they come over here, I've never had anybody say, can I have a rum and Coke? Okay, let's get back to Tanya. She went out to L.A. to record an album. She didn't like their ways, means, or practices, okay? She wants to get back to Nashville. Snuff is no fun. This guy, Snuff Garrett, the new producer. Despite my feelings about the Snuff Garrett sessions, we had 2 #1 hits from the album. All right, well, maybe Snuff is not a moron. Maybe he's okay at what he does. Just okay. Lizzie and the Rain Man? Nope. And the San Antonio Stroll. I do believe I saw her perform that live. I'm not 100% familiar with that song, but I think I heard it. I was actually competing with myself on the charts during that time. Columbia had a great amount of material in the can, and 2 months after MCA released Lizzie and the Rain Man, Columbia released Spring as a single from an album they later titled You Are So Beautiful. It followed Lizzie up the charts for 15 months, peaking at number 18, as San Antonio Stroll headed to #1. Columbia released a second single, Greener Than the Grass We Laid On, and it topped out at number 23. While I understood the reasons record labels do this, I also know it can hurt both chart action and sales figures. Luckily, my 2 MCA singles held their own. That's right, because you're going to have a lot of bills for that ranch that Daddy done purchased in Little Rock. You're going to have to feed like 17,000 horses. That is not cheap. Oh, speak of the devil! Elvis Presley came to see me perform. Wow, how coincidental. Elvis Presley came to see me perform once during this time. I'd already seen his show in Las Vegas. LaCosta and I went when I was around 15, and evidently someone told him ahead of time that I was in the audience. Elvis came down off the stage, leaned over to me, sexy as all get out, swinging his body around, smiling at me. This is how you do it, girl. I knew he was right, too. He had the moves, and I wanted to have them too. We were introduced after the show, but we didn't get to talk much. I didn't get to talk to him all night. All night the night he came to see my show. It happened while I was playing a show in Denver, Colorado, and Elvis was visiting some of his police pals at the Mile High City. Mae Axton, who wrote Heartbreak Hotel, was also in Denver that week, and she told Elvis he ought to come hear me. I don't know how Mae managed it, but she got the club owner to section off a small area close to a side door where Elvis and she could slip in and watch in private. She didn't even let me know he was coming because she believed, rightly so, I'd be a nervous wreck. That is exactly right. I wouldn't want to know either. Do not tell me. This was a time when I was working hard to liven up my stage show, moving around on stage and singing edgier songs. I was definitely moving from the kid singer to the adult entertainer. That's a fine, slippery slope. You don't want to be, next thing you know, you're going to be at, what is the one at the lake? Oh, Earth's Angels. That's some adult entertainment right there. One time they had a little person and they held her over for a month. And they were really excited to put it on the thing. Held over for a month. They were not as kind and didn't use the word little person. Yeah. So let's not go sliding off from adult entertainer into a real adult entertainer. He liked the show and paid me an unbelievable compliment. I only learned about this later when May called to tell me about Elvis's reaction to my performance because as I was closing my show, they slipped back out. Elvis didn't want to take any chances of being spotted and mobbed. According to May, she asked his opinion as they got into the waiting Cadillac, and he said only one short sentence: she's a female Elvis Presley. I'd stack any award in the world up against that one comment. What I loved most about Elvis was that incredible charisma he had on stage. I started watching Elvis's stage moves when I'd see him on television. He could hold an audience right in the palm of his hand, and they were mesmerized. Not my dad. Not Jack. Jack Madigan already had him sent to rehab in his mind. That's how many steps ahead of what was going to happen. And then when Elvis died, what was the first thing? Breaking news on NBC, and Tom Brokaw, whoever, my dad goes, I told you! I told everyone in this house he was a drug addict and it wouldn't be long. Well, he did say it. You got to give it to him. You give it to him. I want to be able to do that too, mesmerize an audience. I mentioned this in several interviews, and quickly other journalists picked up on it, and Elvis was popping up in every article anyone read about me. I did emulate him, and I did idolize him, but I also loved other performers like George Jones, Merle Haggard, Loretta Lynn, and Tammy Wynette. I love all kinds of music, but before long there was this feeling I was more into the rockers than the country artists, and that perception would later bite me on the butt. God help me if May Axton had released his quote about my press to the show, about my show to the press. Yeah, that'd be bad, because once you go rock, I don't think you can go country backwards. I don't know how they take a liking to that. If you shun them and go for some other genre. My life in show business was confusing to me when I was a teenager, but I would have been almost as confusing as an adult, I think. One day I was in the Los Angeles fast lane with people who were trying to keep me out of making my own music. I could be talking to May Axton and learn from her that Elvis thought I was his female counterpart. And then I could head on down the road with people like Miss Minnie Pearl. During this time, I played a show with Minnie Pearl in Pierre, South Dakota, and got to observe firsthand this wonderful woman's wit. I was backstage at this big out-of-doors package show listening to Minnie do her show when I heard her coughing. I looked up on the stage, and it appeared she experienced one of those events that can be a nightmare at an outside show. A bug had flew into her mouth as she was taking a breath. This is why I don't like to work outdoors. This is why I like to stay inside. Now that we have this pandemic going on, maybe we will have to go outside. I have done shows outside. It's just not great for comedy. The laughter doesn't stay. It just goes away. But, maybe that's what we'll have to do to get back to the laughter. Or we could just hang out and wait. There's that. And there's no bugs in this house that I know of. Because Steve, my bug man, makes certain of that. Okay, where I lost my place. She had the bug flu in her mouth. She stopped and coughed and tried to get the bug up or down, and someone ran out with a glass of water. No, I don't need any water. He got in there by himself. Let him just walk down. No. Now, maybe that was part of her act. I don't know for sure. I'm sure it was. I certainly ever heard her pull it as a gag before, but I'll bet she did that after, if it wasn't exactly. Minnie Pearl was one of those rare, completely uplifting people you are blessed to know in your life. She was truly a fine woman, not only a great entertainer, but a smart businesswoman too. She was also very lucky, if you could call it luck, to have a loving husband and manager by her side every step of the way. Minnie and Henry Cannon were one of the industry's golden couples. There's no doubt in my mind that nobody can make it in this business without someone they can trust standing by them. And in my case, it was because I was born into the family I was. One of the things working on a memoir has done is made me realize how special some folks have been to me. But it has also made me see how easily we let people drift away. Minnie died in March of this year. Several weeks earlier, she had a stroke. When she died, she was in a convalescent home. I should have gone to see her more often. Every entertainer who was touched by this woman should have been stopping by to see her, and I'm putting myself at the top of that list. I hate the way your career sometimes just overwhelms you and you don't get the things done that are really important. Waylon Jennings once told me the biggest lesson he learned was to cut the riffraff out of your life. Take time to be with real friends. None of us has as much real friendship today as we did yesterday, he said. My answer was, well, Hoss, I think there's a song in that somewhere. I do believe this. You're better off in life when you learn to spot the angels. And Minnie Pearl was definitely one of the angels in mine. Well, that was a lot to digest. We're almost to the picture part. Won't that be exciting? I have on my St. Louis Battlehawk shirt. I think I wore a different Battlehawk shirt. I have two. I have a short sleeve one, XFL. I don't know if that's coming back. We were good, too, Battlehawks. I mean, we didn't have a lot of time to prove we were super good, but we were getting there. All right, termites. I'm going to drink a little more of this, but sometimes the vodka gets me riled up. I may have to switch to JMO for the night-night. You know what I'm saying? I don't really go to sleep on vodka that well. I'm more likely to start running around and doing something. So, I'm going to sign off now. How do we say it? What do we say? In the words of Ron White? Night-night, termites.